Welcome back to the kickoff. Newcastle have lost away to Manchester United 1-0. I was in KJ's thumbnail, I noticed this morning. KJ, what?
Yes, you was.
What you been
I was
saying?
so proud of you, mate. You know, I did it for the clicks. I did it for the likes. I did it for the attention. You know, you're a big YouTuber and you got taken down. You know, so obviously,
to be fair, a lot of people use me for clicks, so at least you're my actual friend. Do you know what I mean? I appreciate that. At least you're an actual mate. So, yeah, it was a brutal game, lads, and it was so brutal for us because I was looking at that starting lineup thinking, fuck me, like Man United can be threatening at times, but usually it's Bruno Fernandes, it's Mbeumo, it's Ahmad. Three of their most dangerous match winners aren't in the side, and without those three, it looks very ordinary. It's Carabao Cup early round settings, isn't it? So this surely, when we were missing players as well, but we're not missing our best players. Surely this is a good chance for us to win a game. And another pathetic away performance for me, lads. I was really disappointed, and I've actually written some things down because I just wanted to put it into perspective just how bad things are getting, because there's a lot of Newcastle fans who love Eddie Howe naturally for what he's done for the club, and they're unable to see really what's going on here. Newcastle's last season under Steve Bruce, we finished with Newcastle's last season with Steve Bruce, we finished with 45 points in 12th place. Since then, Eddie Howe has spent hundreds upon hundreds of millions. We're halfway through the season now, and we are on course. If we do the same 18 games, we're going to do 46 points and we're going to finish 12th or worse. So we're only 1 point better off than where Steve Bruce had us in his last season at the club. That's 25 points less than we finished when we were in the top four with Eddie Howe. And we lost 5 games all season that year. We've lost 7 already. We're halfway through the season. We used to be a hard team to beat. I think when you look at what happened against Sunderland, what happened against Man United, I don't think as much as KJ is happy about this result, you can look at those 2 games and go that Sunderland and Man United had to play even at all well to beat us. We were so easy to beat. And that's really disappointing. We couldn't score a goal. Man United rolled over in that second half and basically went, yeah, come and beat us. They gave us every opportunity, all of the ball, and we couldn't do nothing with it. And that's where you kind of get to a point where I'm looking at Eddie Howe now and I'm like, you just look so out of ideas. Your players aren't responding. The tactics, it's the same thing every week. It's never anything different. He never goes, you know what? Fuck it. Voldemort and Wissa up front. Let's just, and ironically, when you take Voldemort off, then you start spamming crosses into the box. And ironically, I see in an interview from Eddie Howe's time at Bournemouth, right at the end, in the last, after the game, and it was as if it was talking about the Man United game. It was all of the same things. And I'm like, this is a you problem, when he's like, yeah, our problem was the quality on the ball wasn't enough. And I'm like, literally, this is what I hear from you every fucking week. And, I'm ready to see a change. Like, this is going nowhere now. It's going nowhere.
A managerial change.
Absolutely, yeah. He's Eddie has done everything he can do with this lot. When you're spending hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of millions, this is the things I criticise Chelsea for, Man United for, and the results are going. We're literally in the bottom half of the league. I've just said we're back down to where Steve Bruce had us, lads. We're looking at an identical season to what Steve Bruce had when he had no money to spend. I can't allow this. There's no excuse for it. And we've been getting progressively worse for a long time now. And we look at our away record, I think we've got 6 points from 9 games.
I think, yeah, one win in 9 games away from.
No, I can't believe this.
If you look at the little rut at the minute in December, you've won. I think you've played 9 games in December, I think it was, and you've won 2 of them. One of them was away in the cup to Fulham, and that's the one win you've had since that Sunderland loss. So I don't really think that when you've played the likes of Chelsea, Man United, and you've had that win over Fulham in the Cup, I don't really think that that's a response to losing.
It's not. And you know what's funny is the amount of times this season where you've got Brentford beating us, West Ham beating us, and they go, well, we can use this as a catalyst. And it's like, where's this fucking catalyst coming? We're halfway into the fucking season. And it was not long ago where Eddie Howe was on BBC Sports saying, we're heading in the right direction. We're trending in the right direction now, as if the performances are. And you look at the last 7 games, we blew a two-goal lead against Spurs. We almost blew a 2-goal lead against 10 men Burnley. They nearly equalised in the last second after getting the late penalty.
Yep.
We blew a lead against Leverkusen. We had a shocking performance against Sunderland. We got the last-minute winner against Fulham, but we didn't look anything special in that game. There was no real response there.
Chelsea.
We blew a 2-goal lead against Chelsea, and we've put in a pathetic performance against Man United, and not even a good Man United side. I'm at a point now where I'm like, I'm sorry, mate, but you're not getting the best out of these players. And when you get to that stage, there's only one thing you can do, and that's change the manager. As much as I love the guy, I don't want it to end this way. But what do we do? Just accept that we've spent all this money and we're just going to be mid-table because we don't want to hurt Eddie's feelings? He's not good enough to this season. Nowhere near.
Well, since you were writing stuff down, I wrote a few stuff down myself.
Good for you, mate.
There's some notes I prepared earlier because, you always have a lot to say. And I'm not the kind of friend to kick a man when he's down. We bury him instead. So just want to let you know, Heaven, that young kid stolen from Hayland, 19 years old, absolutely pocketed Voltamada, bro.
Yes, he didn't even get a cross in.
He did. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt me, mate. There you go. We've kept one clean sheet. We kept one clean sheet all season. Do you know what that clean sheet was? To Sunderland. So we're the kings of Tyneside. We own that Tyneside area, yeah? You, Sunderland, the same bunch. It's cool. Kings of Tyneside, I've said that. Cool. Then you saw Prime Ugarte. I looked at the midfield and I thought we was never going to win this battle. But I don't know what's going on with Joe Linton and your situation. But I'm just saying, I can't believe you allowed us to have that midfield. We won the battle. Your team, do you know what your manager... Hold on, I've got those notes. Yep, that's it. It says your manager needed a few minutes, feigned an injury in 8 minutes to work out our system. So you had Ramsdale lying down, then he had to cheat.
Can I piggyback on that? Because I have to give some credit to Amorim.
Yes.
I have to, and this is really saying something, because I think Amorim is one of the most stubborn, he's as flexible as a steel rod, this guy, right? He's been so staunch, and lately he's come out and admitted a few things and said, look, I'd probably do 75% of the last 12 months differently. And he's actually speaking like a man who is learning from mistakes. And whether it goes right from in future is anyone's guess, right? But as someone who's got a Gareth Southgate-like manager, and I really think that's a really good comparison between Eddie and Gareth, because I've watched them both, no matter what data they're given, they will not change. It doesn't matter what the fans are screaming. It's the same thing every time. And just watching Eddie be a bit bamboozled by Amorim early on. And another thing that Amorim had Eddie doing is, Eddie's normally a really respectful guy. Watching him on the sidelines in the ear of the fourth official constantly, I'm like, you've gone, mate, you've gone. And these are little things that long-time Newcastle fans will know. They're not Eddie Howe like.
Wait, you said he's like a Gareth Southgate, though. I've never heard you call him that.
Eddie Southgate, 100%. That's it, fucking, because you always know what you're getting week in, week out, and you know that he's never going to try anything adventurous. You know that he's never going to. There's no creativity there as a manager. You know there's only one way of playing, one way of scoring, and that's it. There's no plan B. There is no plan B.
Not to be out of order, but I've still got more notes.
Sorry.
Just want to say, no Bruno, the real one. Obviously, there was a Timu version. Someone called Bruno Guimaraes. Didn't see him in that midfield. That was crazy. No Ahmad. No Mbeumo. Obviously, they're at AFCON. No Maguire. We even brought back Malacia. Malacia made a return, mate. That's saying something. I ain't seen him in years.
10 hard vibes.
Yeah, 10.
Really is, isn't it?
33% possession. And the last thing I wrote down was Sesko chose the right club. That's it. That's all my notes, and you can't argue with that, because you saw when we got on Xerxes, things changed. Sesko, good touches, it was good here and there, and I mean, he's at the better club, I'm really proud of us.
I don't know when he's going to score, by the way, Sesko. After he went for a long goal and hit that one off the bar. I thought he was offside at first, but he's being played on.
Can you believe the way Bruno Guimaraes loses the ball in his own third and just like gets caught on the ball for that moment, and then they rattle it into Sesko, he hits the ball. Like, for me as a Newcastle fan, I'm watching it going, you're our captain. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm not singling Bruno out, because there was the whole midfield, all the wingers. You know, you're looking out wide. Jacob Murphy, if you put his brain in a dog, you'd have to put it down because it wouldn't know how to function properly. And saying that, Anthony Gordon makes Jacob Murphy look like Albert Einstein, mate. I mean, that's how thick these two are.
Second half, can I not just say, second half, do you not think it was better from Newcastle? Like, second half.
How could it not be, though, Jacob? When a team surrenders and goes, yeah, you can have the ball, because you're not going to do fuck all with it. Like, and this is what annoys me about Eddie. Goes, well, the second half, there's positives to be taken. No, there isn't. When a team literally sits back on the goal and goes, yeah, come on then, and puts a 5 at the back or whatever, and invites pressure on, that's not your own doing. That's their doing. And guess what? You had 40 odd minutes, 8 minutes extra time, whatever it was. You had a lot of time, and you couldn't even really work the goalkeeper in that. And this is a Man United side that have conceded 4 against Bournemouth, that couldn't even get the job done against 10-man Everton for 90 fucking minutes.
Mate,
and we couldn't even not only could we not score, we barely worked the goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's
fine. On another day, Lewis Hall's shot's a little bit lower. Penalty gets given. Newcastle could have been coming away from Old Trafford with 3 points on another day.
But the problem is with that, and we could, say all of this sort of stuff every week, man, about Newcastle, like against Chelsea. Oh, well, what if this, what if that? Here's my main issue. There was part of me, and this is where you get to an angry place as a football fan, where you're like, I don't even want them to fucking score. I want them to have to upset this fucking shit. Like, you get that angry because you're like, the play of the football does not deserve goals. It's not clever enough. It's not pre-planned enough. It's as if we only practice what to do. And I've said this a few times with Eddie, and this is why he was saying it at Bournemouth and he's saying it in Newcastle. On the ball, just a little bit of a lack of quality. It's because he doesn't have it up there. Eddie does not have. Eddie's a solid tactical manager off the ball, and he's very good at getting a team to be hard to beat. But once that messaging goes a bit stale and they're not fighting quite as hard, and you're more reliant on, and you're not winning the ball high up the pitch as much, and you're relying on what he does with the ball. What was our plan there, lads? It was just spam crosses. And guess what? You've taken a 6'7" player off the pitch to do that. It's boneheaded.
Why is your away record so bad, though? That's the part that I never knew it was that.
I'll tell you why. I personally believe that at St. James's, our fans will not tolerate this level of performance. There's a pressure that comes where it's like, because no one wants that crowd to turn on them. Right?
Yeah.
No one wants to, because as much as they're a gift, it could be a curse if it's bad, right? So everyone, like Anthony Gordon is a great example of, against Chelsea, that first half, he was absolutely outrageously good.
Yeah.
Because the pressure's on, right? But when he can get away, and sometimes it's a quality issue as well with him, but like, he's a good example of someone who just raises the game for the fans, and it's weak mentality, if we're being honest, right? Because if you need your home fans to be cozying you and making you, like, that's not football. Football is about going to hard places. And actually, the real top players, they feed off of it when it's against them as well. They want they want to piss the fans off. They want to be the one who spoils everyone's day. And we just don't have enough bastards like that who believe in themselves. Like, I heard a Newcastle fan the other day slating Ekitike's mentality. And I just thought, what are you on about? Like, I like the arrogance. I want arrogance. I want that attitude in my team of, I'm the man. And there's just a lot of players in our side who are weak-minded, in my opinion. And that's an Eddie Howe problem as well.
We have that in Cunha. Even though the GA hasn't come yet, I'm telling you, that's a player and a half. I love the way he is a player. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it. Cunha controlled it. Remember, it's just him now, in that midfield. There's who's left? There's no Ahmad, no Bruno, no anyone. And all he does is take us up the pitch and he stops you from doing anything you want to do.
You were fine. KG, be honest, you were fine. You weren't good. United weren't great yesterday. They were fine. Like,
in the first half, you were good.
Mate, when the lineup got announced, I looked at you and I was like, that is the fucking worst Man United 11 I've seen since you used to have those twins at fullback. That is the worst since Fabio and Raphael. And I was like, Newcastle have got to fucking go for this. You've got to play like you at St. James's. You've got to press. You've got to compete. Like, Joey, you'll know this. When your team goes to St. James's Park, you shit yourself, not just about losing the game, about losing players to injury. Because you know Joe Linton's going in with elbows. You know the defence are going to fucking clatter your forwards at every opportunity. And the way you played, Brian, like that first half, they just knocked it long, didn't counter press, didn't chase anything. And United's team, it was like a fucking pre-season game.
It really was.
Easy.
Yeah.
Mason Mount just popping it round corners. It was fucking crazy. And mate, in the second half, honestly, I respect your manager for changing the tactics because we never thought he would. But when he's making those subs, KG, it's like he's trying to lose the game. Casemiro looked like he was going to chin him.
I doesn't believe that.
Was like, fuck it. He was like, are you joking?
Mate, everything it was inviting us to score, and that's the we were
Luke Shaw. Mate. He leaves the kids in defence and brings off the adults with a lead to hold. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
With extra time, he did that with like 15 minutes left to go, and I was like, this is mental. And yet there was a ball. Harvey Barnes gets on. Now, Harvey Barnes must have God knows what's going through this kid's head, because if we're looking at players who've won games for us this season, you'd say Voltemada and Harvey Barnes would be second, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe Bruno scored a few as well, but Harvey Barnes was in the form of his life earlier this season, and all it took was Anthony Gordon have a good 45 minutes of football, because this is the teacher's pet thing that Eddie Howe's got a lot of this in his side. It doesn't matter how bad players are playing, he'll pick them no matter what. Anthony Gordon had a good half, this is a player in Anthony Gordon who hasn't scored a non-penalty goal in the Premier League since he robs all of Voltemada's penalties because he does fuck all else half the time. He hasn't scored since January, lads. Yeah. And Harvey Barnes has been in the form of his life. And Eddie Howe immediately just drops Harvey Barnes. And it's just like, you can't tell me that's on merit. It isn't on merit. Harvey Barnes was nominated for Premier League Player of the Month, mate. And he comes on immediately, nice bit of play, lays it off for Anthony Gordon, skies it over the bar. You know? That's the sort of shit where I'm just like, I'm done with this. I'm so.
I can't believe you're Eddie Howe out. Joey, is he gone too early on this one, bro?
It's hard because I think from an outsider's perspective looking in, I always look at Newcastle. I like the work that Eddie Howe does. I think that they go quietly under the radar. I think that being a Chelsea supporter, we know that they always give us such a tough game. So maybe that clouds my judgment a little bit. One thing I will say is it's not good enough from Newcastle. When Brian was listing out those fixtures, and all the results, actually, what ended up happening is it made it look like Fulham was the flash in the pan rather than everything else, rather than this being a blip. It actually looked like Fulham was the blip. And I think that when you look at a game like last night, one thing that would be massively frustrating for me, and again, it's pick your poison. How do you want to lose, right? When you lose and you get battered, it's one of those things where I think it's actually a little bit more easy to accept, because it's like, I can't even argue anything. We got battered. Newcastle had more possession of the ball yesterday. Newcastle had, I think, the same amount of shots on target, more shots off target. Newcastle had control of the game yesterday, and actually, especially in the second half, you saw that Man United were kind of limited to looking dangerous nonetheless, but it was on the counter-attack, whereas Newcastle had all that possession, all the opportunity to do something with the game. And like you said, like Brian said, Man United, if anything, were getting weaker as the game went on, especially with their substitutions. I think it is a bit of a sickener to come away yesterday and not even, apart from that, I think it was the shot on the bar, not even really had much to test the goalkeeper with.
You brought us onto something there. So just on that though, half-time stats I think are actually more important, because when the game's level and there's no need for Man United to sit back, Man United had 7 shots to our 2, and they had 3 shots on target, we had none on target, and that for me is a disgrace. You want to come and make an impression on this Manchester United, a weakened Manchester United side, and the only player I can really give real credit to was Lewis Hall. What a young footballer we are looking at here, by the way. And he is so out of our league in the way everyone else is playing. I'm like, why is our left back the best footballer in our team right now? Like, what the hell is going on here when his level is so high? And you're looking at the likes of Tonali, right? What the fuck has happened to him this season? He gave an interview earlier this season being like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, I can't promise I'm going to be here for the next 3-4 years. Fair enough, right? It wasn't I'm leaving, but it did hint towards probably will leave. And yet his performances this season, lads, I thought he was, maybe not a Declan Rice level, but a very high level.
Scholes had him as one of the best midfielders in the league, didn't he?
You know what I mean? So, and look, our passing is so sloppy in that midfield. Our retaining of the possession is so bad. And that is really an Eddie Howe problem.
As a Newcastle fan, what the hell's happened with Joe Linton? I thought it was a world beater. I thought, I don't know why he's not in the team. Is
3 games in a row on the bench for Joe Linton. And when I looked at that lineup yesterday, it was. I know you might say, he's not performing. He's been in the team, but what I'm saying is, you got Jacob Ramsey in there. I don't think he's really pulled up any trees. I don't think he's played that well. When you look at Man United yesterday, and they've got not only some of their key figures out, but also that's led them on to a formation change as well. They've gone 4 at the back. If ever there was a time to have a Joe Linton in there, it's easy to say in hindsight, but
no, but you saw him come on, and then even when he's on the pitch, he's hard to stop. He's just a unit. He's just massive. And then you could see he's bigger than everybody else. And then again, whatever he wants to do, he's going to make it happen. So I was shocked to see him not involved, personally.
I want to move on to Man United, but I just want to cap this off with my main thing with Newcastle right now is, look, we played a certain style of football that was very athletic, and a required high intensity, which doesn't just tax the body, it taxes the mind. And I think that there's a certain amount of time you can play that style of football, especially when you get all of these extra fixtures. And it's run its course now. The players you're seeing the lack of intensity against Sunderland. You're seeing the lack of intensity against Manchester United. And athletically, we can't maintain, Joe Linton isn't the player he used to be physically. You can see he's lost a bit of that energy that he used to have. Because him smashing into everyone is ironically affecting his body as well, in my opinion. And I do think that we need a manager, and regardless, Eddie Howe playing that style of football, you cannot challenge for league titles because you're not retaining the ball enough. You look at the way Arsenal strangle sides, or Man City at their best have strangled sides. Liverpool don't give the ball away, under Jurgen Klopp cheaply. We give the ball away so cheaply. You can only go, we've gone as far as we can go. And now, and this is the thing, is whether you're Eddie in or out, you have to understand this as a brand of football that we have peaked, and there is no further to be gone under Eddie Howe. So we can stick with him and hope for the same, but we can't go higher than where we've been going. So if you need a manager who tactically understands how to retain possession and how to play through the middle. With Eddie, it's all just, put the pressure on, spam crosses in, hope for the best. There's really not a lot of tactical, he's not a clever guy in that sense. So we need someone who's got more different ideas and who's going to change the way we're playing to get the best out of Nick Voldemort, who's, in my opinion, one of the best young strikers in Europe.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that, and that is abundantly clear. On to Man United, I have to say, it was more painful when I just looked at just how, and this is the thing, it's not necessarily the fairest representation of Man United because they're looking, they've got a few players missing who are very good players, but I think Man United fans are hoping for a top 5. If Manchester United get top 5, it is an indictment on the entire Premier League because that is such a poor football side. And I don't mean this is
we don't care.
No, but
we don't
this is the
care
thing,
how
you're
you
not
feel.
getting top 5, KG. This is a dog
listen,
shit
check
side.
this out. We don't
shit.
care how the league feels because top 5 is on. For some strange reason.
It can be on as long as you want. You're not getting it, mate.
Well, we don't know that because I thought you were going to be better than us this season, but you're not. And now you want your manager out, and I don't. So look how life changes. Right now, Man United...
You still want him out?
No, I don't want it. I used to want it, definitely. But you're not
I look at Man United, and I don't know about Amorim, right? Because I don't know. I think he's changing his mind about things, and maybe. Yes. But there's just something about him where I don't believe him. I don't know why. I just think I've seen so much indecision from him, so many bad decisions. In fact, I'm looking at you lot, and I think you're at the bottom of a ladder with this manager that you really... you're not going to really want to climb
but
that
he's got
ladder.
a high ceiling. I'm going to look at Amorim and say there's definitely a high ceiling in the sense of...
I don't know why, because he's won one game in one home game in 2 fucking months or something. Where's the high ceiling coming from?
You've seen, in terms of now with goal scoring, we scored, it's like us, Arsenal,
Same
Man
amount
City.
of goals as Arsenal, I think. Or
There you go. Like, we're scoring goals, which is crazy. And for instance, my manager wants to adapt. When we're linked to Semenyo, and they leaked this thing saying we're going to change our system. And then after I saw an interview, and he basically said, look, to do the 5 at the back, the system that I kind of really want to play, it's going to cost too much money, and I haven't got the time. I can't do that anymore.
But Man United fans were saying that a year ago. That's my issue with him is, yes, you're adapting, well done. It took you fucking 12 months longer than it would have taken any Man United fan sat in the stands.
Yeah.
Like, how clever is this guy?
Well, I think, again, stubbornness, innit? And sometimes that can help a manager. Sometimes it can be the curse of a manager. But I like the fact that he is willing to change. I like the fact everything that every stone we tried to throw at him, he's almost batted back to say, you lot, don't take the piss. He said our kids were not good enough. He's put on the kids. Now the fans are complaining about playing the kids. Well, guess what? Some of them kids are not ready. When we saw Mason Mount in there, he was good. The game changed when Mason Mount went out of the game. That's the thing that we're not really talking about. He's been crucial, but then the managers loved Mason Mount. The likes of Cunha, the fact that we had Dorgu and Dorgu right wing. Imagine that. Man United, Dorgu and Delo playing on the right-hand side.
I thought Dorgu had a good game. I will give him credit.
Yeah,
I thought he was really impressive in this game.
Dorgu was what Chelsea were missing against Newcastle. That little creative, energetic spark there that would just be chipping in and fighting for everything.
He was a pain in the arse. Like, he was
going down smart. He was clever. Go ahead, Jacob.
Just quickly on Dorgu, I think Ramsdale should have saved that. I think Ramsdale's side.
I'm really realising how bad Ramsdale is.
Mate, having watched Ramsdale for years,
he's terrible.
You love his personality, decent distribution. There's so many saves where it's like, you don't have to save that, but you should. Do you know what I mean?
There's so many effort. They hit the bar.
Yeah. Mate, and that Spurs game a couple of weeks ago, it just amounts over time. You're like, there's so many. And if it's just one, you go, I guess you could have saved that, but fair enough. It's so often. I remember when he left
every game. Every single game.
He was 13th in the league for shot stopping. This guy is not a good keeper. He's not a good keeper. And I bet
he was only criminal. I think you can only blame him for Chelsea. Yes, in that other game, Chelsea, and this is why when you say you're the manager out, you've got a lot of things getting against you. And it reminds me of like Onana. Onana was just like a thorn in my side, bro. And when I look at Ramsdale, I think to myself, bloody hell. We've got a goalkeeper who's a pretty good shot stopper in Nick Pope, but then he does these things where he comes out and he just fucking does crazy shit, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? So then we thought, let's get a ball-playing goalkeeper, that old chestnut. And then he's brilliant with his feet. He's terrible with his hands. You know what I mean? That was back to United. We've got that keeper is really Lamens. Like, it's not the world's best, but what he does is he just makes us feel good.
Do you know his record's not actually that much better than Onana, though?
It doesn't matter. Totally different keeper, mate.
You
already know what's going on. When I look at the two of them go about their business and their job, even that like claiming crosses, just simple things. There's one thing that Gordon did. I didn't realize that Gordon has a little cheeky nudge on him, but that's the only Onana-esque moment that he had where I can say that it was like, wait a minute, the ball's behind you, mate.
Can I ask you about Sesko, though? Because you've conveniently left him out, and I would if I was you as well, because it's looking like a real flop signing so far. And let me land, because I actually don't think he's a terrible footballer by any means. I've seen a lot of quality in him before he came, and that's why I was quite excited when Newcastle were linked with him. But Man United are certainly not playing to his strengths. He's struggling, and ironically, if he'd come to Newcastle, he probably would have scored more goals, in my opinion. He would have been, footballing wise, better suited to our style. And when he went in for Semenyo, Amorim, and he whined and dined him and said, "Oh, we'll change the formation for you," I'm like, well, Sesko's getting dropped then. If you'd have got him, probably Sesko's then on the bench. And to spend the kind of money you spend on him and to be within less than 6 months ready to fucking go, right, your bench, mate. Like, I don't think Sesko's career.
Because we were getting rid of the next player that comes on in terms of Zagsi. What we're seeing in Sesko is we're seeing him link the play. We're seeing him. He needs a goal. He does need a goal. You play with the three though. You've
got Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. So who the fuck is Semenyo replacing?
I don't know. It would
have been Sesko, wouldn't it? It would have been Mbeumo up front.
He's still in. Sesko's still involved.
He's ready to drop him already, mate.
No, don't listen. The killer is if he went to Newcastle, he would have scored as many goals as Voltemada. But where does that leave you? Still below us, so it doesn't matter.
Mate, he's not half the player Voltemada is. I'm sorry, he's not half the player. He's not half the player. Trust me.
I'm telling you, he have a better career than Voltemada.
You'll see as
his career has gone. They're both in the same league. He is better. Right now, Voltemada is a very good player. I like what he's doing, but you can't look at Sesko and say that's a bad footballer.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Man United have not got a fucking clue how to get the best out of him, and that is one thing Amorim was shown.
Hasn't done well.
And he's ready to get rid of, basically drop him out the side, and you've only just fucking signed him 2 minutes ago.
I don't think Sesko will ever score 15 goals in a Premier League season.
I believe he will.
Or next season, I don't think he'll do it.
How many seasons have I got? 15 goals? I'll take it.
I don't think he'd get a 15 goals.
50 quid.
But the fact that that's even a debate.
Let's go.
Unless Man United change the way they're playing, and this is the thing, right? In order to be a top side, you need, all right, Man United are chipping in with goals from all over. Bruno Fernandes is not going to be there, but he might not even be there next season.
That's true.
What you need is patterns of play that show longevity. And one of the key things that you look at most clubs and you go, is there fucking, Man City are a great example. Challenging for the title, they're creating lots of chances for their fucking goal scorer. Man United aren't doing that, and that should worry you in my opinion.
We're getting through the phases though with this guy. Like we have to understand, he's had his injuries. He's not been the managers. When you're talking about the hard work and pressing, you already know like the reason why Mason Mount has been in the team and is almost undroppable is because he just keeps going. And since we brought Šeško in, we never had that in the beginning, and we weren't playing to him, weren't whipping the ball into him early. There weren't early crosses. Now you're starting to see he's a big part of the build-up. When he came off, I noticed. I didn't feel I had that. I saw a big drop in quality when it was just Xerxes. And no disrespect to Xerxes, but he just wasn't doing the job.
I'll disrespect Xerxes. I don't mind disrespecting Xerxes. That guy's awful.
That's terrible, isn't he?
That is terrible. Do you know the funny thing with United, KG? Yeah. So Brian says it there. Like, if I picture your team in my head, I'd go, right, probably Sesko up top and Mbeumo and Cunha either side. Midfield, I never thought it would work, but Bruno and Casemiro seems to work. That's kind of what I think in my head. I don't know about you guys. Yeah. And yet, anytime I watch you, you're only good when Mason Mount is on the pitch. As soon as he's not on the pitch, you lose something. Yeah. And the mad thing is, and like your manager loves him, and he's Joey, like, let's be honest, mate, Chelsea fans were happy to see him go for that money, but you got to be honest, he does look good when he plays for Man United.
Yeah.
But it's just so inconsistent in terms of his fitness. And I think that's the weird thing about United. Yeah, like, because of his fitness, right? Because he's never on the pitch. But this is the weird thing about Man United. Like, I think they could get fifth. I really do. I think Liverpool will get their act together and finish ahead of them. I think Chelsea will be up there. I'd probably predict Villa will drop off because that's the
problem. You have to predict one of Chelsea, Villa, or Liverpool to miss out.
Villa's XG should only be a couple of points ahead of Wolves, right?
Mate, so right now it's 7 points. Villa are above, but they've got a game to play on Man United.
They're going to lose that game. It's against Chelsea.
Oh, they probably win that.
And then they got us. Then they got us after that.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think United could get top 5. I think they could. And by the way, I'm not saying that to compliment them. I agree with you, Brian. The league is fucking shit.
Shocking.
Like Newcastle and Spurs should be looking at this Man United team. They should be embarrassed that they're going to get Champions League.
That's exactly right. That's what's nailing this home for me is when we're losing against teams that you don't respect and you're not impressed by, the Chelsea game, I could look at that game and go, we played well in that first half. Chelsea rallied back really well. Chelsea looked like a good Premier League side. It looked like a game full of quality. When you draw a game like that, you're like, we should have, in my opinion, we had the better chances towards the end, but I can accept that it was a fucking good game of football. When you watch Sunderland beat you and you're like, God, they had one shot on target. We couldn't even have a shot on target. When you watch this Man United side beat you, you're like, fucking hell, it really nails home just how bad you are when teams that you think are shit are doing that to you.
Do you know what's the consistency in these moments though? in those two games that you mentioned, Sunderland and Man United, Voltemada, really important. Scored an own goal, got the assist for Dorgu as well. Lovely assist.
Come on. I mean, that I have to say, obviously, Dorgu strikes the ball well, but the Newcastle defenders should be ashamed for not throwing themselves in the front of that and doing better. I think the nail in the coffin for me with Eddie is, we can accept he's struggling a bit more because he got Champions League, but the performances have been terrible. And the reality is, and this is not my opinion, this is just a fact, if Newcastle get the same 18 results for the rest of the season that we've had in the first 18 games, we will finish 1 point better off than when Steve Bruce was last in charge. That is the end of the discussion for Eddie Howe. You do not, that is where it's not about whether we love Eddie, whether we hate Eddie, whatever it's not personal. And there's a lot of people who are in the Newcastle fan base who talk about people like me as if we're arseholes, as if, you keep the faith, Look, man, what the fuck are you watching here? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is Steve Bruce level bad.
He bought you your first title, though. Putting him next to Steve Bruce, even if the record, he has bought you a title that you're not waiting for.
He's put himself next to Steve Bruce when you look at the points total and we look at where we are in the league. That's
money
your
spent
record
as well. The money spent. They're his players. They're his players. Yeah. There's no conversation there. It's his fucking nephew finding them.
Exactly, mate. So lads, unfortunately I am Eddie Howe out, and it's reluctant because I think he's a lovely man and I'll never forget what he's done for the club. But this is absolutely diabolical and there is no plan B. There isn't even a plan A. There's so many games I watch this season, I go, what the fuck? What we even spam crosses towards the last 20 minutes, is it? Is that what we're going to do again? There isn't. And ironically, when we take a giant of a striker off, it's just nowhere near good enough. And I think I'd maybe give him the dignity of letting him finish the season because I don't know if there's any recovery. I don't think Newcastle obviously the owners, they had Amanda Staveley last time, so they had someone to guide them and be like, right, we're going to go with Eddie Howe. She appointed him. And it was a good appointment, and I certainly will never regret that. But we're at that Mark Hughes Man City stage where you're now needing to go for the
who have you got your eye on? It sounds like you've already got your eye on someone.
What I was thinking.
Do you know, I was saying this to my mates last night when we were watching the game. I went, what the maddest thing is like, there's a reason Chelsea appointed a manager who was a championship manager. The standard of management now is so shit that you're literally scraping the barrel. Like, there's no, like, back in the day, there'd be a plethora. It's similar to the footballing talent that's gone, like, it's all gone to shit, in my opinion. Yeah. You're really struggling. Yeah, like, could you go for the Crystal Palace manager? Maybe. Would I be stunned if Crystal Palace's manager went to a club and did shit afterwards? No, I wouldn't, because that's the way management is these days. Like, you don't get those same level of coaches, though. Back in the day, it was just a who's fucking who. It was a Hall of Fame.
What about the Sunderland boss? He's done a good job.
Fucking hell. I really had to call it.
That's it. That's a red card. No, that is absolutely out of order.
You should have had that in your notebook, mate.
I'm going to write that down for next time, mate. That's nasty for Joey.
I think at the end of the day, it's not for me to choose the next manager, but it is for the fans to say when enough's enough. And this is and you can see this is Eddie looks clueless. If there was anything to give me hope, I would be holding on for him. There's nothing. So we'll leave it there, lads. Big love. It was a good chat. I'm glad KG's happy at least.
You and I, United, the Royal United, are the team for me.
We can be happy for him because we all know this is going nowhere with them. You know what I mean? We just enjoy your moment. All right, that was it from the kickoff. Hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.